boxing is on this weekend. Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz, number 2. In Saudi Arabia, out of all places. It's going to be real hot there. My goodness. If anyone's used to the hot, it's a guy like Andy Ruiz. I think he grew up in Arizona. He's of Mexican descent, so he's used to the heat. Whereas Anthony Joshua is from the UK, and the UK, I don't think, pardon my ignorance, but I don't think UK gets that hot, but I do know it gets very cold. So who gets acclimated more to the heat is going to be very important, especially for big heavyweights weighing around 250, 260. Maybe Anthony Joshua will be around 240 something, because recent pictures surfaced, and they just did a press conference yesterday. Recent pictures surfaced that Anthony Joshua looks a little slim now. Some people say it's quite apparent. Some people will automatically go by he's off the juice, he's scaling down. But I don't know why, if you were on the juice in one fight, you lost, why would you get off the juice? That doesn't really make sense to me. But just looking by his physique, it's easy for layman people to claim he's on the juice because he's big, quote unquote. My thing is, I think he just changed up his training. He said it in one of his interviews where he wanted to devote more time boxing. So more rounds at boxing, more rounds sparring. And from all accounts of people that's been around his camp, they say he doesn't really spar like normal gym spar, like the rough house sparring. He likes to touch spar, and he doesn't really go full blown. Apparently, he's going full blown this camp. Is that a good idea? Who knows? But he's putting down the weight, and he's going more on a boxing training regimen. The rumors out of the first fight was that he was knocked out cold. What is it? A week prior, a week or two prior to the fight, he was knocked out cold by an American heavyweight from Philadelphia. The name hasn't been released, but yeah, he was knocked out, and his father didn't want him to have that fight, to the point he allegedly, from sources, not my sources, from boxing sources, that he had a nervous breakdown right up until the fight in the locker room, where he didn't even feel like he was, I guess he wasn't ready for the event. It was his first fight in America. He was fighting in New York. And yeah, I don't know what happened. During the fight, a brief breakdown on the fight. During the fight, the third round, Anthony Joshua caught Andy Ruiz flush. I just saw the fight. I just replayed the fight again. He caught him flush on the chin. Very hard shot from a heavy hitter known as Anthony Joshua. And Andy Ruiz, his face looked a little puzzled at the beginning, but he regathered his composure fairly quickly. In that very round, he ended up dropping Anthony Joshua. Some people say he got shot. He got hit in the back of the head, not back of the head, but like around the temple, towards the back of the head, that's where your equilibrium will get screwed up. And he never got his legs back after that. I did feel that way. I do. When I first saw the fight, he never fully got his legs under him. So he was walking on spaghetti legs, so to speak, the whole fight. And Andy Ruiz was going to the body, and he was attacking the side of the head, the side of the temple. He was attacking it. He knew that, and every time he hit him there, he would lose some type of steam. And how many times did he get dropped? What, four times? And I remember I think it was last week they released it. They had a face-to-face where it's an interview they do. It's quintessential to what Max Kellerman did back in the days, face-off. So yeah, they had an interview side by side, or face-to-face in this case, where the commentator asked Andy Ruiz, because it's been out there that they believe Anthony Joshua quit. So he asked him flat out, do you think Anthony Joshua quit? And if you watch the fight at the final knockdown that resulted in the TKO, Anthony Joshua got up, looked bewildered, and he seemed non-committal. And like when the referee told him, "You want to continue? Do you want to continue? Are you ready?" Like he was slow to just say yes, and it actually took a step all the way back to the ring post to, I guess, I don't know, just to lean on it. He took a step back instead of going forward to the ref, like they tell you, come forward to me. He didn't come forward. He didn't seem committal to continuing the fight. And some people say that was him quitting, saving face and quitting. And Andy Ruiz agreed. He thought he quit. He thought he didn't have any fight left in him. Joshua rebutted by saying, if I would have quit, wouldn't I just stay on the floor and not get up? Honestly, that was not a valid comeback, because the best way to quit is to save face and quit at the same time. So disguising your quit. So getting up and not really looking like you really want to fight. So the referee, it could be on the referee's decision or the referee's behalf to call the fight, and not you or your corner's behalf to wave the towel or throw in the towel. So yeah, I don't know. Did he quit? I don't know. Did he have more fight in him? Maybe. But I'm leaning towards he didn't really have much fight in him. That first shot in the third round was the end of the fight. Maybe that's a sign of a little weakness, because Andy Ruiz is knocked cold on the chin. He actually took that same round. He took a nice shot to the chin. I think it was a left, a nice shot to the chin, and it didn't even faze him. So Andy Ruiz was in that same storm as Anthony Joshua, and Andy Ruiz looked even better. He came back even stronger, whereas Anthony Joshua, his energy went down and down and down until he couldn't fight anymore. His confidence was just shot out the roof after the first or second knockdown. His confidence was shot out of the roof. That was surprising coming from a guy that fought, maybe because he was up all the way for Klitschko, and he was prepared for a war. So when he fought Klitschko, one of the greatest heavyweight fights I've ever seen in my life, when he fought Klitschko, was it O2 Arena with 100,000 fans or 90,000 fans? He came down from getting knocked down, and he ended up winning the fight in I think it was the last round or 11th round. Yeah, he came back to win the fight. And that showed that he really has heart. He's a different type of caliber heavyweight. He has heart. He can come back. But maybe it was the mindset. I'm leaning towards that. Maybe it's the mindset he came in fighting Klitschko, the reigning defending champion of 10 years. He did lose to Tyson Fury, but he had a 10-year run where he was this dominant, some say boring, but dominant fashion. And he was expecting the war. He was expecting to struggle to win that fight. Whereas when he fought Andy Ruiz on a short notice fight, he thought, you know what, I'm going to run over this guy. And when he knocked him down in the third round, I'm definitely going to run over this guy. He never contemplated in his head that, okay, this is going to be a tough night. I may have to struggle. I may have to go through a fire. So you have to mentally prepare yourself and build up yourself to that point, not on the day of the fight, but leading up to the fight. Maybe that was his downfall. Maybe having some time to consider Andy Ruiz being a viable threat to him. And if he has his head on right, he would say, okay, that was not a fluke. I got beat. I have to be better. I can't come in thinking I'm going to do the same thing and expect a different result. And he's mentioned that too. He's mentioned changing some things. Obviously not changing everything, but changing some things and tightening up some aspects of his game. So yeah, I hope that he comes to bring a good fight. I'm predicting him to win, because he's coming in knowing the threat of Andy Ruiz, knowing he can't lose 2 times in a row. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow. He's making his $80+ million, yes, but just the fighter in him and the competitor in him wants to win and proclaim what he already had. because there are two heavyweights fighting in February that the fans know that is a true heavyweight contention fight. And this fight is just consolidation. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. So yeah, he wants to put himself back up top because he was once that guy considered to be the top heavyweight. Now everyone's considering him to be third or fourth best heavyweight in the world at the moment. Not a bad thing. They're the best fighter in the world. Not fighter, boxer, because not an MMA fighter. But yeah, third or fourth best boxer in the world. Not a bad consolidation, but he's not a guy that wants to rest on the laurels of being a top fighter. He wants to be the top fighter. And to reclaim that throne, he has to defeat Andy Ruiz in dominant fashion. The bad thing about that, and the bad thing about being great in general, you're judged by the crowd of which does not or have not ever participated in any type of competition at that level. But the crowd would say, if he wins in dominant fashion, oh, you're supposed to beat him. So he'll never get that credit unless he defeats Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury. No matter how he wins, if he grazes a decision or a split decision versus Andy Ruiz, or he knocks him out cold in the first or second round, it's going to be the same thing. You're not as good as we thought, or you're supposed to win. And if he loses everything. Not the money, not the sponsors. I'm talking about just for pure competition. He loses everything. He loses his status as a heavyweight champion, as an all-time great. It's going to be tough to overcome that. We'll see. Should be very interesting times. One of the best moments and best eras of heavyweight boxing. We're in it right now. It's very interesting times. And we have to commend guys like Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder for not waiting and lingering and with the fights like a Floyd Mayweather would do. Try to marinate fights to build up anticipation and build up revenue. Good business deal. But guys like Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, they go for it in the heavyweight division. In the heavyweight division that has possibly the greatest knockout artist ever. They went for it. And they're going for it again. And some have accused Anthony Joshua and his team for being too calculated. Always assessing risk and never going for the threat. The threat being the American Deontay Wilder. I don't blame them. I think if Anthony Joshua fights Deontay Wilder, one, Joshua can outbox him all day. But Joshua has shown that he may be a little bit chinny. Not only that he got knocked out the last fight versus Andy Ruiz, he got knocked down by Klitschko. He got buckled by another fighter a couple of fights before that. One early in his career and another, I forget who. But he's been chinny. And you can't be chinny against a guy like a Deontay Wilder. So yeah, it would probably be a boxing clinic early on. And it'll take one shot for Deontay Wilder to take out Anthony Joshua. Similar to how the fight played out with Deontay Wilder and he fought Ortiz. How did I forget that? Basically, Luis Ortiz boxed up Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder looked like he didn't even want to be in the fight. Until that one of the cleanest right hands detonated. Beautiful picture. Yeah, I can't wait for that fight during this weekend. It's going to be an early fight too. I think it's going to start at 2 p.m. Eastern time zone. Looking forward to that for sure.